Guys, this is Brad and Scott from Brooks. This is the January
introduction of the Pure project.
Yeah, the Pure stuff coming from Brooks, which people are starting to talk about. And so this is kind of a sneak peek to some of the colors and what's going on. And what we were talking about is, what's the name of this one that has a little more?
That's the Cadence.
The Cadence is a shoe that's going to have a stiffer durometer. What do you call it?
It's going to have a softer durometer on the lateral side.
Okay.
And a regular durometer actually on the medial side.
So it's going to be less give there, kind of support.
We feel like that is a style that the customer that's in a stability shoe could, if they want to feel a little more on the run, they could easily do that.
It's a good first step.
Pretty secure that they would not get injured.
And everything's 4mm drops.
Exactly.
Okay. And what are the ounces on these babies?
I've got that information.
That's okay.
For instance,
they're all lightweight.
Right here.
I mean,
all lightweight. So, for instance, starting with on the men's side, the Connect over here is 7.2 ounces. The women's 6.5.
Okay.
The Flow here is a neutral, but a little more under the foot with an 1814 offset, is 8.7 ounces on the men's side, 7.5 on the women's. The Cadence, which then is the one we just talked about with the structures, men's 9.5 ounces, women 8.3. And then the Grit, which has offsets of 1511, is men's 8.9 ounces, women's 7.6 ounces.
So trail version peeps, watch out.
A little more of a concave sort of shape to it, so it's really going to hug the road or hug the trail nice. As most of our trail stuff, Scott Jurek, influential and kind of getting things in the shoe that he likes and he wants.
Yeah. Cool.
Whether they're 4-foot striker, a mid-foot striker, or a heel striker, hitting a little closer to that center of the ankle bone joint, and that just sets up the alignment to start with.
Sure.
Then you've got the toe flex. Again, maybe a little bit different in one from the other. Here on the Connect, though, you can see a very significant toe flex with the open spaces. So we talk about it as being for both flexibility and then to make that big toe independent of the other toes.
Gotcha.
Anatomical last, so more the shape of your foot. All of them to some extent are going to have a nav band too. Even in this Cadence, it's then anchored into the midsole. So you've got this nav band that just gives you a real nice wrap of the upper. We talked about then the material of the midsole is BioMogo, so the regular midsole material we use in all of our shoes, mixed with DNA, which then is what in most of our shoes have to some extent in the heel and the forefoot, and in our best shoes from heel to toe. But this has it in the entire midsole.
Cool.
So pretty much you've got the most iconic, would you say, of the collection, which is the Connect, because it's the lightest weight, the lowest profile,
most flexible.
Flexible. Yeah. So if somebody really wants to feel, really wants to get the experience, that would be the shoe.
Okay.
Then if you want a little more of kind of a transition from your regular, whatever you train in, but still feel, then you would go with either the Flow or the Cadence, with just a little bit wider base, just a little bit more under the foot, as would be with a 1410 offset versus an 1814 offset.
Gotcha.
And then again, you've got the Cadence, which does have the stability built into the midsole, and then very, very lightweight, low profile trail shoe, which is called the Grit. So we've gotten into finally where we'll always be introducing newness in the neutral shoes in June. The stability category will be around the first of the year, between, say, for instance, the Adrenaline in November, the Trance in January, and the Ravenna in February. So then the motion control shoes, always newness in October. So this is strictly just a color update of the Ghost 4. So not much difference between the Ghost 3 and the Ghost 4. Mainly what it added was those Omega Flex grooves. And so the other colors of this shoe are shipping right now.
Cool.
Post sprung platform.
Okay.
Now going forward, there's going to be one more category, which is going to be this guidance category. So for instance, in the neutral, you've got the maximum toe sprung.
Okay.
The guidance, actually, which is just a Ravenna, actually is,
Right.
I think we say in the catalog, half toe sprung.
Okay.
And then in reality, go ahead.
Toe sprung meaning flexibility is what
Okay.
you're talking about.
No, more of the shape of the last. So for instance, if this was the Adrenaline,
Yeah.
the difference would be we took in the forefoot and shaved off a little bit on the bottom
Yeah.
and stacked it on the top.
Okay.
Okay? So that's the difference between a stability shoe with us and a neutral shoe is we scraped off the bottom so it has more of a rocker sort of forefoot.
That's more toe sprung is more rocker.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So does that feel quicker to people? I mean, the
That
transition is
it
faster
supposed
to
to be
toe
faster.
off.
It's supposed to be faster, yeah.
Okay.
And so what we did, the difference between the Ravenna 2 and the Ravenna 3 is it's not quite as sprung. So it's
Okay.
kind of in between our neutral shoes and our stability
Gotcha.
shoes.
Okay.
It also will have those Omega Flex screws, a little more posting. Oh, and this is the first time it gets DNA. So
Okay.
it'll have anatomical DNA.
Okay.
And then these are strictly color updates of the green silence.
silence.
So in reality, all three of these shoes, the T7 Racer, the Racer ST5, and the Green Silence are same tooling that they were from the
Just
get-go.
new looks.
Yeah, just actually we have made some changes to the uppers in the T7 and the Racer ST5, but you know, as far as where the overlays are,
Yeah.
but the tooling, in other words, the midsole and the outsole is
Cool.
the same. Same thing with the Green Silence here.
Right on.
You know, 0.5 ounces, or I should say the Wire 2. So that's the second version of that $100 price point.
3.5 ounces.
Yeah.
Oh, I could be faster than those. Maybe.
So here we're doing men's and women's,
Oh, gotcha.
where the Wire is unisex only. So this is called the Eliminate.
Alright. Perfect.
And then we've got the Sprint Spike. The quick.
Full flex plate
Right.
all the way through.
What we're calling a tube effect, so it wraps the foot nicely as far as
Yeah.
coming up on the sides.
$100.
Yeah, these are all three of these
Better
then
be
at that
running
$100 price point.
Sub 11 and the 100 people if you're buying those, or if you want to run sub 11, I should say. Hey guys, it's Scott from Running Village. I just wanted to give you a critique or a finalized statement of what we found out when Brooks was here last time. And one of the things we talked about in the video was toe sprung. And what I can tell you of toe sprung, hopefully this is going to be a good enough example, is when they're in a neutral shoe that they're talking in Brooks, you're going to find this curvature is more aggressive in a neutral shoe because they're planning on someone having a pretty fluid footfall from heel to toe. And what it does is it gives you a little more action, a little more rocking chair motion, so it just feels a little quicker to you. Okay, and you'll see that more aggressive in neutral, and then when they go to slight stability or guidance, and then they go into stability, this is the Brooks Adrenaline, you'll see this decrease a little bit from what you see in the neutral cushion shoes. And then, you go to the Granddaddy, the Brooks Beast, and you'll obviously see a difference there. It's going to be a little flatter motion, it's more stable. For someone that has more issues with overpronation or how much they overpronate. Or, the Brooks Beast, that's a big guy rolling in that, and he's not caring so much about if he's toe sprung and feeling quick as much as if he's staying healthy and able to work out. So that's one thing they talked about. Another thing they talked about was DNA. And DNA, if I give you, instead of just taking the little HydroFlow packets of gel-like substance that they used to use in the heel and the toe box, they're putting in DNA, which is really, if you took cornstarch and water and you stick your finger in it, your finger will go through it. But if you hit that super hard with your hand, it becomes more supportive throughout. And so what they're doing with that is places where you come down and hard, it's going to give you some cushion. But as you roll through nice and smooth with a foot that's wider on there, it's going to be more supportive heel to toe. And so they're starting to use that DNA in a lot of their shoes, sometimes just in sections and sometimes all the way through the whole shoe. And then the last thing is flex grooves. One thing they're starting to do on a lot of their new stuff is these places where you see flex grooves, they're rounding those grooves on the inside instead of just cutting them, you know, like with a steak knife or something. They're rounded, and what that's doing is holding the structure of the shoe pretty well, but it's also making it more flexible. And so when you find it more flexible, it feels more responsive and it feels smoother to you. And so those are really 3 things that are coming into spring 2012 that you'll start to see. If you have questions on what has what, you know, email us. We'll tell you. We know, we got the documents, you know, we have the info, so get a hold of us. Thanks for stopping in.